Good evening. Welcome to tonight's meeting of the Nashua Board of Education's Human Resources Committee at the Nashua High School Boardroom. It is August 26th, and we are starting at 5:37 p.m. I'm calling this meeting to order, and Ms. Raymond will do the roll call
Okay, Ms. Giglio,
here.
I'm here. So we do technically have a quorum.
A quorum.
We have Dr. Andre and Mr. Baus, and we have guests in the audience tonight, Mr. Adamakis from Amherst Street and Ms. T-Boom from Birch Hill.
Okay, so the first item on the agenda.
Oh,
hi.
and Mr. Johnson has arrived.
We didn't expect you so soon.
I don't know what time it is.
You must have put pedal to the metal. Yes. Okay, so great. We're just starting, so you're fine. Okay, so the first item on tonight's agenda is an administrative recommendation. I have to bring up my to elect Jillian Cook to the position of Assistant Principal at Birch Hill Elementary School effective September 1st, 2024, at an annual salary of $81,688.
Okay, can we meet her?
Yes,
Yeah,
I was going to ask, if Jillian can come on down and Miss T-Boom, that would be fantastic.
You have an opportunity to tell us a little bit about yourself if you'd like.
Sure. It's nice to meet you both. I'm Jill Cook. I've been part of the Nashua School District for the past 8 years. I've worked in special education throughout our district. I've had experience at all levels, which is really great because I've gotten to see the path that students take. I've worked at Chuck as a special educator, Brentwood as a special educator, and most recently as an elementary special ed coordinator for 5 elementary schools in Nashua, as well as running our extended school year program.
Great. You always have questions.
I
Ms.
always have
Raymond.
questions. I feel like if people take the time to come here,
I know,
we should ask them questions so that the community gets to know them a little bit, right?
You're absolutely right.
So the question I ask everybody who's sitting there, but especially in elementary school, is to tell us a little bit about your philosophy on discipline. And if you were to put yourself on a continuum, right, of zero tolerance to restorative justice, but it's not the best word for elementary school. Where do you fall when it comes to managing our kids' behaviors and helping them to learn to manage their behaviors?
Yeah, I think that's a great question because that's something people talk about all the time. I would say that I fall probably closer to the same, just to use your vocabulary, like that restorative justice piece of, kids need discipline because they need to learn, but they also need to know the why behind the behavior, because if they don't understand that why piece, then the behavior is not going to change. I am a CPI instructor for the district, so through that, we really push that behavior is communication. And if a student is displaying a behavior or having a hard time, the why, and being able to help find that and then help teach students that so that we can see a change in their behavior, I think. So probably closer to that side.
And can I ask one more?
Oh, sure.
Oh, great. And so the other question I have is about diversity. So our community is becoming more and more diverse, which is great. And I know it's become even more diverse than when my kids were at Birch Hill just 5 years ago. It hasn't been that long. And our population of kids who are speaking other languages is increasing, although Birch Hill has had the English language learner program for a long time. Do you have any thoughts on how we can better partner with parents who English isn't their primary language to help bring them into the school community so that they feel like they're, welcome, because they are welcome, and so that they're more involved in their kids?
Yeah, I think a big part of that is being able to communicate with our families in their first language. Once I'm officially part of the Birch Hill family, of making sure that I'm aware of all the different languages that are spoken in our building to provide everything that's going out in the families' home language to make sure that they can communicate with school, but also showing representation in our building. So when their families are coming to our school and looking around, whether it's for open house, conferences, picking up their child, or whatever the reason is, that they can see some type of their culture in our school as well, so that they know, we're welcoming them and we want to learn more, as well as communicate with them and be a partnership. I think it's important.
Does anyone else want to add anything before we make a motion and vote? Dr. Andre? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Johnson. Yes.
Okay, I know, right?
That's his assigned
That's
seat.
my assigned seat, so I have to. Um, how do you see working with the PTO at Birch Hill?
I think when you're working with PTO, it's being involved, is as involved as I possibly can be. Showing up to the PTO meetings, I think, is important, so that we're a community and we're a whole team, and that it's not the PTO and then there's the assistant principal who never shows up. I want to be there. Life happens. I might not make every PTO, but I want to be there and show a presence and listen and hear what the PTO is saying, because they're kind of like what you were saying, right? Like, they're taking time to be there with us. So to ask questions and to be engaged with them and have a great partnership is important, because we're all working to make our school the best.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I just want to reiterate, I think this is another internal hire. I think really proud of again, Ms. Cook has been with the district for 8 years in a number of roles. Really this past year as the elementary special education coordinator, she really shined. She showed her leadership on looking at data, facilitating meetings, supporting teachers, supporting families, advocating for students. So it was really nice to work closely with her. And then when she applied for this position, it was a no-brainer. We had a nice conversation during her second interview as well. So her philosophy on improving systems, working with Ms. T-Boom, working with the teachers, and working with the community, she's just going to be such a value add. So it's nice again to hire from within and see that leadership pipeline continue to grow. So congratulations.
Should I make the motion tonight? Yeah. Okay, well, I don't do this very often, but I'm going to make a motion that we elect Jillian Cook to the position of Assistant Principal at Birch Hill Elementary School, effective September 1st, 2024, at an annual salary of $81,688.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Hey. Great. Do you want to do your announcement?
Yes, I was,
before we-
if we could, I'd like to make another administrative announcement. It's not a recommendation this evening. As the community knows, we were looking for an assistant principal at Amherst Elementary School as well. So tonight I'd like to introduce a candidate for the assistant principal. And again, full transparency, she is completing the process for certification, so that's why it's not the official appointment tonight. But she, again, is an incredible educational leader, and then someone who's going to be a wonderful addition to Amherst. So we wanted just to be known of this is our plan going forward. So there's no questions on what are we doing with this position. So we want to be able to let the faculty and the community know that this is your future leader, partner. So if we can have Marissa Gauthier and Mr. Adamakis come down, we can have Ms. Gauthier give a little background as well and answer some questions. And we can do it all again in December.
That sounds good. Would you like to tell us something about yourself?
Sure, thank you. So I know I've met both of you recently. My name is Marissa Gauthier. I've been in the district for the last 8 years. This past year, I had the pleasure of working as one of the elementary special ed coordinators for 5 of our elementary schools. And then before that, I was a case manager at Fairgrounds Elementary School. And I'm excited to start this journey at Amherst Street.
obviously I have questions, but I have multiple questions in two different directions. And so my first question is, question statement is, I really appreciate that we're looking within, and that we're also focusing on making sure that we have the elementary special ed coordinator position not completely empty while trying to meet the needs of our elementary schools and balancing the best person for the role at the right time. My question is for Dr. Andrade and Mr. Baus about, is it possible to do like a motion for a conditional employment beginning that day, or like once the certification comes in, or something so that Ms. Gauthier and the community are not left kind of in this limbo situation?
I mean, we could. I just am hesitant to do it based off of somebody not certified. So if it goes to the state that so and so is an AP, they look it up, she's not certified, we would be at fault.
Got it. So we can't make a motion to like hire her once the certification is complete.
Yeah, so I think the district experienced hiring somebody with a full certification in the past.
We have, yes, it didn't go well, but it was a different type of role.
So to
So-
stay away from that, we're kind
So
of.
we want to avoid that, but we also want to be fully transparent on our candidate of choice and moving forward, and then balance the roles and responsibilities. So we don't, and we've had the conversation of why we're doing it this way. So she's not surprised, but again, we feel the Amherst community and the Nashua community should know where we're moving and then how we're going to balance that. And so once all the paperwork is in place, we'll make the transition official.
The two other questions about process. So one is, will the other elementary special ed coordinator position be posted quickly? And is that seasonal? Like, I know some of our jobs are easier to fill at different times of the year. And two, does Amherst Street have senior staff available to kind of help Mr. Adamakis fill those gaps for the next 4 months?
So I believe the position's already posted,
Okay, great.
or if it wasn't posted, it was actually on driving in and I saw a posting.
Oh,
So
great.
I'm like, it's a couple hours too early to post it, but it's out there. If it's not already posted, it'll be posted this evening. We already heard that there are some internal candidates who are interested in the position, but in the meantime, I've had conversations with the director of special education, the assistant director of special education, and with the building principals on how can they be flexible. Same thing with Jillian, because she's also an elementary special education coordinator. On what are the non-negotiables? How can we cover all 12 elementary schools to make sure that the meetings are all covered and we're getting the right information? So both the directors and the assistant director and the building principals are aware that there has to be compromises on both sides. So there'll be a lot of balancing going on.
In regards to the staff at Amherst Street, we're in a good position, Heather. We've got a great balance of new staff as well as veterans, and our veterans are going to be key in assisting myself as well as Marissa assimilate to that role as we move towards her certification. The benefit is with Marissa coming in with new curriculum, CKLA, we're only 1 year in, the Eureka 2 math. So our staff is learning as well. And we do rely heavily on the experiences of those veteran staff, especially our reading specialist and some of our key grade level teachers who have been around a while and can help with that.
Thank you. My concern is really making sure that teachers are entering this year with as much support as we can possibly give them. So I appreciate we're trying to balance all of this at once. So good luck to everyone.
Thank you. Does anyone have any other questions? No? So we'll look forward to seeing you again here in this room in December. Yeah, that will be great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, folks.
Oh, sorry, I was on that interview, so I know the answers that she had to my traditional questions. They were good answers, and I'll let her repeat them in December.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the HR update from Mr. Baus, and I have to say that we are hiring 41 staff members tonight in addition to the assistant principals. And I cannot imagine how hard your staff has worked over the last month or all summer to accomplish this, but that's pretty amazing. And congratulations to your whole department.
Yeah, if I could give a quick shout out to my entire department, from HR manager Jane Boylan to the benefit specialist Mara Ramos to the leave specialist that really stepped up with helping with benefits this year, and then so that's Sarah Tabando, and then Veronica Schwannard, who's processing the hundreds and hundreds of PAFs that have come in the last month. They're working diligently to get through this, and I wouldn't be here without them. So definitely thank you to them. But looking at the sheet that I gave out that kind of goes over the job openings, we do still have some work to go. So we're not out of the finish line. We're not to the finish line yet. We have a total of 147 total openings. The breakdown of it is there's 29 teachers, 15 in the elementary level, 6 at the middle school level, 8 at the high school level. We did just recently have a late last second school psych that left us. So that's why that went up by 1. So that's at roughly 5 now, if you add the 0.8, add it up. Speech language, we're down 2 paras. I was finally able to go through and get an actual number for the number of pairs that we were short instead of just putting a 50 down there. I was hoping the 50 was a lot, but it was actually a little bit less than what we had. And we have a total of 66.6 para openings. Food service, we have 21. We hope to see that number drastically decline with the new wage that we just offered. So we're hoping that's going to take a turn. Plant ops, we have 15 openings. Most of them you can see in the crossing guard area. And the other ones are the custodians, 4. And then there's a groundskeeper that we're looking for as well. Central admin, the numbers changed a little bit. We don't need, we just hired actually, I did take it out already. I lied. So we have 7 administrators, the assistant superintendent, director of communications, civil rights coordinator, district accountant, out of district coordinator, the AP at Amherst, which will be able to fill that. And then what I didn't put on there is the elementary coordinators.
Thank you.
And then just the finish, the secretaries, we do have 2 openings at North. We actually just made an offer to someone today. They're starting on, actually, I think they have to give 2 weeks, so they're going to start on the 9th. So that'll bring us down to 2 openings. So 1 at North, and then we're still looking for a student services admin to replace our lovely Kathy Mack.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Bell? Ms. Raymond, you have a question.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Baus. And thank you to your staff. I know that everyone's been working hard. So I've been reading articles all summer from all over the country, but especially in Maine and New Hampshire, about the difficulty that schools are having with hiring. And it's not just us, the private schools as well. I know that there are local private schools who are still looking for teachers as of today. So my question is there anything that we can do to make the process easier or to incentivize people? Is it a contract wage issue? Is it that we don't have good partnerships with, schools? Are just less people wanting to be teachers? I mean, I think that it's
No, I think-
complex, but I wish that there was something we could do. So I'm wondering if there's anything the board can do to help with this.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's anything you guys specifically can do. We have seen just a dramatic decline in people wanting to be teachers. Riviera actually closed one of their education departments this year just because of the enrollment numbers were low. So it's just overall, all around, people aren't looking to go into education. And then the Department of Ed did increase some of the costs for the licenses, which doesn't add to the help. So trying to get more people in, somebody that may not have been a typical educator that's looking to change their career and go into education, it's costing them a lot more. So
More than double, I heard.
yeah, so we're kind of trying to fight both battles there.
Is there any, because I know that the district has coaches and stuff to help people pursue alternative certification. Is there any anything that we can do to help with the cost of the certification, since it's gone from, I think, $200 to $500?
I mean,
I mean, or you have to have it before you apply, right?
Correct.
yeah.
And then it's the recertification. So going back to the overall support, again, I think if you look at our numbers, it's really there's a void of special educators and para educators, and that's a hard area, right, to fill. One of the things that we have to look at is, based on all the research, sometimes it comes down to salary and wages, but a lot of times it's also the level of support at the building level, the collegiality, the school culture, in that aspect of it. So I think really as a district, we have to make sure we're not only recruiting teachers, but how do we retain teachers? And I think some of that is by fostering positive school cultures, making sure teachers are feeling supported, their voices being heard, some agency and empowerment. So that doesn't necessarily have a dollar figure to it, but that's a lot of hard work. And I think that's vitally important that we make sure that the teachers are feeling heard and supported.
Thank you.
And out of the 29 teacher openings, 12 of them are special ed.
Wow, okay. Okay. I'm reflecting on 10 years ago, like it was really difficult to get a job in Nashua. Like you know what I mean? We had many, many more applicants than
I wish I was
positions.
the HR director then.
But for years and years, I don't want to date anybody, but it's, going back where it was common to be a substitute teacher for a number of years before you could get into a district. And that's
Right.
not the case anymore.
So I would like to just looking at the power shortage of 66.6, I would just like to kind of throw in my life story really quickly because I was a parent volunteer at one of our elementary schools, became a para there and worked for 4 years as a para, decided I wanted to be a school librarian, so I got my master's degree and did that for a long time. And here I am on the Board of Ed. And of all my college roommates, all of us who graduated together, I was the only one that did not start out in education. The others were all education majors and I was not. So it just, you never know what can happen if you really love working with kids and you get into the school. You may be amazed at how that transforms your life. So it's worth giving it a try. Thank you.
Absolutely. And to build off of that, we can turn any degree into a certification. So if you really are looking to get in, to work with children, come see me, especially if you have a degree, we'll get that turned into some type of certification.
Okay, moving on to our last agenda item, looking for approval of the personnel recommendations listed tonight, of which there are 41 nominations, which is amazing, and I'm happy. Does anyone want to add anything to that or questions or?
I'll make the motion. I'm really pleased to see the number of specialty teachers as well on this list. Like there's school psychologists here, there are unified arts people, there are science and math teachers, and those are really difficult to find. So kudos and thank you so much for coming to Nashua.
Okay, so I'm looking for a recommendation or a motion.
I'll make. Maybe a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So welcome to all those 41 new employees. If there's nothing else, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Okay, I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're adjourned at just about 6 o'clock. Perfect timing. Thank you.